Salve, Dartonians, and welcome back to the Wandering Larper. As always, I'm your host, Salvatore. On today's episode of the Wandering Larper, we're going to be discussing LARP combat. Everything that you need to know to conduct combat at a LARP. What's safe, what's legal, what's not safe, and what's not legal. How to keep yourself safe and how to keep your friends safe so everybody's having fun. So without further ado, let's begin the episode. Whenever you're sparring at a LARP, you should really use sportsmanlike conduct. Make sure your opponent knows that they're sparring with you. Don't just come up and swing the sword or surprise. You should say, hey, would you like to spar? Extend out your sword. Once you touch weapons with your opponent, then you can begin sparring. Now, a critical component of sword fighting at a LARP is actually calling your damage. So this way the person that you're hitting with your weapon actually knows the damage your character does. At a LARP like Nero International, the damage is called by the amount and then the type. So if you were swinging a mundane weapon, something non-magical, and let's say your character calls 10s from the front, every single time you swing your sword, you're going to be calling 10s. So 10 normal, 10 normal, 10 normal, as we're about to demonstrate here. Let's talk about force of swing. How much force should you be using on all of your swings? Now, a LARP is a lot different than regular medieval combat where you're trying to actually knock down another armored person and end their life. You're trying to inflict damage and swing as hard as possible. This is the polar opposite of LARPing. At a LARP, we are looking for the lightest touch. These are our friends. Even though we're hitting them with foam, we still want to hit them lightly. Not to mention, we're going on a point system. So every time that you land a hit, let's say you call 5 normal, 10 normal, whatever your LARP denotes as the swing, the faster, lighter, and more hits that you can get off legally is better for you. So all of the theatrics of pulling back or swinging really hard are going to be a lot of wasted energy, and people that go for quick taps, they're usually going to win in a point system. The next thing I want to touch on is how to swing your sword. We're looking for a lot of side action hits. We're looking to hit the shoulder and the thigh, shoulder, thigh. We're never looking to stab with the weapon. Even though these are foam and they have foam tips and they're very safe, we still never thrust forward. It's just not something that we do at LARPs, whether we're using a foam spear, foam axe, or foam sword. That's a little bit too aggressive of a motion, and we're just not looking to do that. On a point system, again, we're looking to take side strikes lightly, hitting the shoulder, hitting the leg, and generally being safe on the battlefield. Now, blocking and parrying and defense is a very critical part of sword fighting at a LARP. You're going to be knocking the weapon away and redirecting the energy for a strike. Let us demonstrate. Now let's talk about good sportsmanship at a LARP. If you're progressing in combat, advancing towards your opponent, and you've got them so that they've tripped or fallen, you should immediately stop. You should not backpedal people into anything where there's a possibility that they can get hurt. This is an honor sport. At all times, you're looking out for your friends, so you're never looking to hurt anybody or inflict any damage with any of these foam weapons. Also, if you see something unsafe in the environment, you should call it out. Like, hey, Johnny, you're about to step in that hole, or hey, Kyle, watch out for that branch behind you. Because ultimately, these are your friends, and you want your friends to have fun, and you want to be the guy that looks out for your friends at a LARP.
And as you see me backpedaling, and there's danger behind you, what do? Immediately disengage combat. We never want to have unsafe conditions for players.
Now, if you see one of your friends is just really into it and they're swinging a little bit hard, don't hesitate to just say, hey, the swings are a little bit hard, or hey, tone it down a little bit. Try not to break the immersion, but try to tell the player they are swinging too hard, because if they're hitting you too hard, they're probably hitting other players too hard.
Whoa, 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 man. Take it down with the swings a little bit. It's a little too hard, okay? All right, thanks. So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with LARP combat. It's a great workout. It's a lot of fun. It's very safe if you conduct it safely. Me and Kyle spar all the time, have a lot of fun, but we keep it safe and we look out for each other like friends. So any obstacles, debris, dangers coming up, we warn each other. And at the end of the day, we are opponents and this is a sport and we are trying to beat each other. But before anything, we're bros. And let's flip the camera around and we'll introduce you to our cameraman. This is Anime Johnny in the flesh.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Anything to say to the Wandering Larper fans out there, Anime Johnny?
Well, be safe and have a good old time.
As always, thank you for tuning in. I'm the Wandering Larper. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Wandering Larper U.S.A. And until then, keep on LARPing.